You know that really specific feeling you get at maybe 3 in the morning?
Oh, yeah, the staring at the ceiling feeling.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not just insomnia. It's that weird creeping suspicion that the person you think you are, the one with the name on the driver's license and the job title and the specific coffee order, is actually just a tiny, tiny fragment of something much bigger.
And honestly, something a lot messier. It's the feeling that there is a stranger living in your own house.
Yeah.
And that stranger might actually be the one holding the keys to the front door.
Which is a genuinely terrifying thought to kick things off with.
Right.
But that is exactly what we are doing today. We are doing a deep dive into the work of Carl Jung.
Yes, we are.
We're working off a really heavy-hitting text today titled Carl Jung and the Architecture of the Psyche. And honestly, looking through this source material, it feels less like a standard psychology textbook and more like like a map of the underworld.
It really does. And you have to remember the context here. Back when Jung was writing, most psychologists were completely obsessed with behavior.
Right, the whole stimulus and response thing.
Exactly. Treat humans like lab rats. If you ring the bell, does the dog salivate? And Jung looked at that and basically said, you are missing the entire show.
You went downstairs.
He went way downstairs. He wanted to map the unconscious forces that are actually driving the car, even while we sit there thinking we have our hands firmly on the wheel.
So our mission today is to meet that stranger. We are going to peel back that surface layer, the part we call I, and look at the heavy machinery underneath. We were talking about the ego, the shadow, the anima and animus, and this massive lifelong goal called individuation.
And I want to set the stakes here immediately because this is not life hacking.
No, it definitely isn't.
We aren't here to optimize your morning routine or get you to inbox zero. Jung's work is about psychological survival. It's about understanding why you sabotage your own relationships, or why you get irrationally angry at your boss, or why you sometimes feel like a total fraud even when you are succeeding.
It's about becoming whole.
Exactly. Becoming whole.
Okay, so let's start with the part of the map we actually recognize. The ego. The text refers to it as the necessary tip of the iceberg. But I feel like ego gets a really bad rap these days.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you go on social media or listen to certain spiritual gurus, and they're always talking about killing the ego or achieving ego death. Is Jung on board with that?
Not at all. That is a massive misunderstanding of Jungian thought. In the Jungian view, trying to kill your ego is a terrible idea.
Really?
Yes, it's actually a recipe for psychosis. You absolutely need an ego.
So if we aren't supposed to be killing it, what is it actually doing for us?
Think of the ego as the operating system of your conscious life. It is the CEO. It's the voice in your head that says, I.
Okay.
It organizes your memories. It tells you who you are when you wake up in the morning, and it helps you navigate the physical world. I mean, without an ego, you wouldn't know who to answer to when someone calls your name.
You wouldn't know to stop at a red light.
Right. It provides continuity. It keeps you functioning in reality.
So the ego is actually the good guy. Keeps the trains running on time.
Well, it's the necessary guy. But here is the catch, and this is a really big point in the text. The ego is incredibly insecure.
Insecure how?
It likes to curate a very specific image of itself. It wants to be the hero of the movie. And the problem is it mistakes the island meaning itself for the entire ocean of the psyche.
Give me a concrete example of that. How does this curation actually happen?
Okay, let's say your ego decides on a brand. It says, I am a kind, helpful person who never gets angry.
That's the profile picture.
That's the bio. That is exactly it.
Sounds like a nice guy. I would probably hire him.
Sure, we all would. But here is the fundamental problem. You are a human being. You are a biological entity. You will feel anger.
Right.
You will feel selfishness. You will feel greed. But because the ego has hung up this giant sign saying no anger allowed, it panics when that feeling inevitably shows up.
It just refuses to acknowledge it.
Exactly. It says, that doesn't fit the brand. That is not me.
So it just deletes the file. Like error 404, anger not found.
It tries to, but in psychology, just like in physics, energy doesn't just vanish. You can't destroy energy. You can only move it.
So where does it go?
If you delete it from your conscious awareness, it has to go somewhere else. It gets shoved into the basement.
And that brings us to the basement, segment 2 of our map, the shadow. Now, I feel like this is the concept everyone quotes in pop culture, usually to mean the evil side.
Right, like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, or Darth Vader. Like, it's just this cartoonish villain living inside of us.
It creates a great narrative, doesn't it? But it's actually quite a bit more nuanced than just evil, though it certainly contains things we might think of as evil.
How does the text define it then?
The definition in the text is surprisingly neutral. The shadow is simply the container for everything the ego rejected. It is the not I.
So if I identify very strongly as the chill guy, my shadow is just absolutely full of rage.
Exactly. It is the counterbalance. If you identify as the hard worker who never ever takes a break, your shadow is probably full of laziness.
A desire to just be completely sloppy.
Yes, a craving to just do absolutely nothing.
And when does this bag start getting filled up? Is it a lifelong thing?
It starts forming when we are very young children. You learn incredibly quickly how to survive in your environment. You learn, if I cry, mom gets mad, so I will not be a crier.
You adapt.
You adapt by shoving that vulnerability into the bag, you drag it behind you, and eventually you forget it's even there.
I think it was the poet Robert Bly who described it as dragging a long, heavy bag behind us.
Yes, Bly's analogy is perfect. We spend the first 20 years of our lives packing the bag and the rest of our lives trying to unpack it.
But the bag gets heavy.
The bag gets incredibly heavy. And the source material points out something fascinating here that I think a lot of people miss. The shadow isn't just a trash can for bad traits.
Right. The text talks about the golden shadow,
Yes.
which was the part of the reading that actually surprised me the most. I always assumed the shadow was just monsters and demons and intrusive thoughts. What exactly is a golden shadow?
Well, remember, the shadow is just whatever was rejected by the ego. So imagine a kid who is naturally artistic, dreamy, maybe a little emotionally sensitive,
Okay.
but he's born into a family of very rigid, practical accountants who only value logic and efficiency and making money.
So they're telling him, stop daydreaming, get your work done, be realistic.
Exactly. That kid learns that his creativity is bad or useless. So in order to survive in that family dynamic, he suppresses it. He grows up to be a very rigid, practical adult.
But that creativity didn't just disappear.
No, it is still in the shadow. It's golden. He has this immense artistic potential locked in the basement simply because his ego decided early on that it didn't fit the family dress code.
So we could have genius or power or a really deep capacity for love just sitting in the dark, rotting.